Hi, my name is Sam Price, Crypto Lifer. Hope you're having a wonderful day. This is your weekly macro technical analysis. We're going to go over Bitcoin, total 3, which is all the altcoins excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're going to look at Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, S&P futures, the Nasdaq, and we're also going to look at the DXY, and we're going to look at another coin too, a secret coin, another outlier that can kind of show you what's happening in the market. So first, we're going to start off with Bitcoin. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And we're going to show you kind of what's going on here on the macro analysis for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin was making a bull flag, right? It did resemble some of it a head and shoulder on the smaller time frames. We got the wick down, but we got bought back up. The two levels that I talked about the most were where these two candles closed and these two candles closed on the weekly. They were the resistance, the previous resistance, and they will act as support even years later. And so we had support at 60K and we had support and resistance at 65,500. Where you got resistance by 65. I kept saying once we close a weekly candle below 65.5, expect more downside, and we did get the downside. We even revisited. We went all the way to the low of this candle at what looks to be 56,522, which, eventually what I would do is I would use this opportunities to buy Bitcoin. Whenever the fear and greed index got into these low points, I was buying more Bitcoin. It's just kind of what you have to be doing, in my opinion. That's what I do. I use the fear to buy. I've learned that fear is where I accumulate and big green candles are where I take profit, right? Over time, that's the only way to survive if you're going to stay in these markets for a long period of time. So bullish engulfing candle on the weekly. We want to see this weekly candle close above 65.5. That's all I want. If we get to 67.2, that's great. 67.2 is my next line in the sand. We break 67.2, and we can't close a weekly candle above that. I just don't see how we don't break all-time highs. If you look at this, and this is a bull flag, and it's a bull flag that's breaking out. And if you're in my trading group, we did call the reversal on the 4-hour time frame, and we'll show you kind of what's happening. But I could see this going up to $97,000, $98,000 somewhere into July, the end of June into July. So it says not too long from now, we could see almost pretty close to $100,000 Bitcoin on this weekly move. We look at the 3-day chart, which is another go-to of mine. And you can see the 3-day chart was in a falling wedge bull flag as well, which had hidden bullish divergence, which we also discussed. Also, one thing to get back to the weekly now is showing swing up to swing up is an uptrend, and swing up, this swing lows, if you connect the swing lows here, so this swing low to that swing low, uptrend, this swing low to that swing low, downtrend. And you can see that's what's called hidden bullish divergence. If you didn't know, I would study this and get to know it. Hidden bullish divergence. Okay, and if you pull a fib from this impulse, which was when we first kind of ripped up to the top, we did whip to the 786 and we hit the golden pocket. So on the smaller fib, we hit the, all those prerequisites for a retracement, and we have hidden bullish divergence now. The MACD also, if I shrink it down here and get it into position, also getting a turn, lack of bearish momentum. I'm not saying we can't get resistance here and then go back to the downside. Anything is possible, but right now, very, very bullish. Oversold stochastic, hidden bullish divergence. The weekly just really setting up very, very nice for a continuation. What hidden bullish divergence tells you is that you're going to continue to the upside. The last week, really ever since about May 5th, so it's been a battle, really, for the last 13 days, 12 days, we've been, attempting to figure out if Bitcoin was going to either break back inside this pattern or perform, the retest. And it faked the retest out a few times, faked the retest, came back. And I just kept saying, do not short unless we break back inside this pattern and we start to dump to the downside. And so I didn't see a reason to take a massive short until we broke inside the pattern. A couple little shorts here and there, but nothing big. And eventually we did get this retest. And you can see we broke back above this resistance that was giving us a problem, 64,000. And now you can understand why I'm talking about 67,200 really. The wicks give you the 67.5. So we break above 67.5, but 67.2 is the weekly support or resistance. But I'll take 67.2, 67.5. I really want to see a daily candle close above this key level. So that's kind of what we're looking at for the next week. So where do I see Bitcoin when we come back here on the weekly? Well, because I see a golden cross coming on the 4-hour time frame, and the main time frame I would suggest you to watch would be the 8-hour. We want to make sure that we don't go below the 200 SMA on the 8-hour. We did it before, downside. We got back above, a little bit of a move. We want to stay above this time and not test below it. Because the moving average is starting to come closer to it and we have a golden cross on the 4-hour, it tells me that something's brewing. So what I'm doing is I'm watching this, this consolidation here on the 4-hour time frame. And I'm not exactly sure how it's going to look. It may even be something more like this. But right now, this is kind of what we're looking at, all right? And we're looking at this kind of upward channel flag that eventually wants to make a possible parabolic move further to the upside. I wouldn't be surprised if by next week, we're somewhere above $70,000. This says even to 73,000. Heck, we could make an all-time high by the time I make this video next week. So I'm bullish for the week ahead. Things look pretty interesting. The bearish part is we have resistance right here, right at 67,200. We have to break 67.2. That's going to be my definitive line there. If we can't get above that, we could end up breaking back below, So watch your 8 hour. Make sure you stay above the 200. Make sure we break back above 67.2. And if those two things occur, I just don't see how we don't go to a new all-time high for Bitcoin. All right. The total market cap for all of cryptocurrency in a similar situation. Let's take a look at it on the bigger time frame. And this is going to be, your weekly for the total. The total is the entire market cap of all of cryptocurrency. That includes everything we got, right? There might be a few that slipped the list, but for the most part, TradingView does a pretty good job of getting everything. And what I love about it, look, previous resistance is support. So where we previously had 2 candles close, that's where we're bouncing. It's exactly that's textbook. It's just it's traditionally textbook support or resistance. We're in a bull flag, it's breaking out. If you just look at the macro and you don't really get too heady about it, this looks like a big move to the upside is coming. You had the golden cross there. Moving averages are just getting started to move apart. And so that tells me that our next target is going to head to about $3.3 trillion, and we'll break that all-time high. That tells us that could happen into the summer by mid-July. So, late July at the latest. So this is both charts are suggesting a big move, and we're going to be pumping. So by next week, we should be able to break one of these highs and possibly on our way somewhere from 2.4 to 2.5 trillion dollars here. So I'm bullish on the total market cap for cryptocurrency. Total 3 is another interesting chart you may want to touch on. Total 3 is the market cap of all of the altcoins, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So it's if you just want to see when alt season, this has a lot to do with when alt season is going to be ripping. What I like about it again was, look, a bounce here, a resistance there, created the support. So again, if you just played regular support and resistance, just, old school SNR, you'd be on point right now. What I don't like is it's kind of a strange pattern, right? Like those flat weeks. And so I want to make it look like a falling wedge, but it just doesn't look like a falling wedge compared to the rest of the market. It looks a little awkward, So at the same time, I feel like it did break out of a little channel here that it's in. And it has a measured move to the upside. Also, it's about to get a golden cross. The other things have already had their golden crosses. This is about to get a golden cross, which tells me there's a bigger move coming for the altcoins. So, yeah, I like what I'm seeing for the altcoins. I like what I'm seeing for the MACD. RSI also had its chance to, recover. And usually in a bull run, you don't get too low. Like here, you got low in a retracement. So it's a decent place for the RSI. And I wouldn't be surprised if the altcoins never go lower than that $626 billion. If they're going to continue to print money, which I'm suggesting they are, the money's going to have to go into altcoins and other assets. So only so many people can afford Bitcoin. And so a lot of retail, a lot of your average people, when they find out about cryptocurrency, they're going to be buying altcoins. And I don't think they're going to be stashing the DXY. You know what I mean? So I just don't see how altcoins don't go up in this market, especially when they print money. And we're going to start, losing more value on the dollar. So, and we see inflation continuing to edge up every couple of weeks. So I see a move for these altcoins to the upside based on the weekly chart on the macro. I look at Bitcoin dominance. Look at that shoulder, head, right shoulder. That wants to take a move back to the upside. So it pulled back a little bit, right, on the smaller time frame here. And you can see there is an inverted head and shoulder. I've been watching the 3-day chart mainly for Bitcoin dominance. And it suggested that a big move is coming for Bitcoin. It suggests that Bitcoin's about to erupt and go up in a parabolic way. So I would watch altcoins as a whole right now. Bitcoin will steal the show first. It'll be the Bitcoin show, and then money will distribute it to the altcoins. I'm not saying other altcoins won't move up, but Bitcoin dominance is telling me that a big move is coming for Bitcoin. The 3-day chart is getting ready for a massive breakout. Once we get above 5,660, I just don't see how Bitcoin doesn't rip at least to 62 and to 66 and possibly to my bigger, higher channel there at a 70% Bitcoin dominance. When the whole world's buying Bitcoin and Bitcoin is the answer and banks are collapsing and you have, politicians wanting to custody it and passing bills, and you have Fidelity, you have Chase, you have people that used to hate on it, buying in. You have everyone that used to say it was garbage saying, oh, we own it now. It's kind of hard to stop the train. So Bitcoin, to me, looks like it's going to rally pretty hard on Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is when, how much money is in Bitcoin compared to the rest of the market. So it's all of the market's volume. How high does Bitcoin's volume compared to the rest of the market? Like how much market cap does Bitcoin have? So let's just say the market cap was $1 trillion and Bitcoin was 800 million. It would be an 80% Bitcoin dominance. Understood? So Bitcoin dominance right now is at about a 56%, because if you look at the whole market, it's, a 2.4 trillion and Bitcoin's, over $1 trillion market cap now. So Bitcoin dominance looks like it's going to take center stage and continue to the upside here. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin goes on a big run, and Bitcoin dominance is suggesting that too as well. Let's take a look at our Tether dominance. How much money is in Tether? All right. And this is also important to juxtapose. And whenever I look at this, I see an overbought, curving down 3-day chart and a bear flag that's lower than the moving averages, wants to come on down. And that suggests that people are going to be selling their Tether off to get into other assets. Like, why would you want to hold Tether right now? So this is showing a huge sign of a big move here for Tether to the upside. For altcoins to the upside and Tether to the downside. So I juxtapose this chart with the Bitcoin dominance chart, and it says Bitcoin dominance goes up, Tether dominance goes down. And on the 3-day chart is really showing signs. And the 3-day chart's a big chart that can tell you what's going to happen for the next 2 to 3 weeks, even a month. So this is showing signs of a massive move to the downside for Tether dominance, which means there would be a big move for Bitcoin. All right. So I'm just showing you the macro here, but that looks very, very interesting. S&P futures, another chart that I've been looking at a lot lately, and I've been super bullish on and talking about how they're likely going to go to the upside. I recently just posted this flag here, and I said I see this flag breaking out. And what happened? The flag did break out. They're going to continue to print money, and if they're going to continue to print money, the money has to go into assets, homes, real estate, right? The supermarket, anything that you buy. Anything that's poised in the dollar, if there's $10 in circulation and you have a hammer and the hammer's worth $1, and then they print, $30 into circulation, the hammer's can't be worth $1 anymore, right? It's got to be worth $3 now. Like, it has to go up in value, because the hammer's still 1 to 10 ratio of the value of the money, right? So when you print more money, the money has to go up, all right, into the value of goods and services. That's just what happens. So I see the weekly, look, it's 3 white soldiers in a way. The weekly just getting started for a massive move up. People were bearish on the S&P. I was bullish. I keep telling you, this was a cup and handle. Remember when I told you this cup was going to continue? They were going to continue to print money. Little 3-week pullback was all they needed, really, to reignite the stochastics and get this thing ready to go. So the indicator's even telling you that there's a move, and the move tells you you're going to 6,200, 6,224 by September, really. So this says a big money printing move is coming for the S&P. Stocks are about to get it too. When you break this previous all-time high yet again, you're basically in price discovery for the S&P. I see a bigger move coming on the weekly for the S&P. Nasdaq will basically be the same. I could just go here to the NQ. And Nasdaq will basically be the same. I put it in this little flag, and the flag continued. Last time I pointed it out too, I put the Nasdaq in this smaller flag, and you can see this flag broke out just as I suggested. They're both now in these flags. Like I showed you, the S&P was in this flag. And the stochastics are getting low. It is a Friday, but it shows that next week, when the money printer comes back on again and the market revs, that we're going to get a continuation to the upside. Let's just take a look at your macro weekly. And again, same scenario here. This was the cup. There was the handle. I called that low. I called the bottom of the S&P and the Nasdaq. You can go back to the tape and see it. And all I did was just use my Sammy cup and handy, and there was hidden bullish divergence on the 3-day chart. Just like Bitcoin has on the weekly. Let me just show you so you can use this later on in your life. But swing up to swing up while this swung down, right? You see that? That told me we were going to break this high, and we did. It's an amazing indicator. You basically start seeing the market in such a different way. And previous resistance, and then you bounce, and then we made this flag that broke out. The 3-day chart looks good. We take it to the weekly, which is our, substantially biggest time frame. And the weekly, to me, is just getting started for a breakout, right? And I could be wrong, but once this breaks this high again, and then you have the measured move. So it shows signs that the weekly is just getting started for a money printer extravaganza. And we're about to see a move here to possibly 22,000. And we're already in price discovery. We're very close to the all-time high. So I don't see how this doesn't continue further to the upside here. Eventually a crash will come. Like it looks like 2024, 2025, it's going to be a nasty crash. And we may be in some pain back until 2028 or something like that. But I'll take it one step at a time. Right now, I see a really big move to the upside. The DXY, which is, we want to see what the DXY is doing. We can see that it's been inside this bigger channel. All right. If we take away the moving averages for a second, you can just see it's been inside this beautiful bigger channel. I see a shoulder, shoulder, head, a shoulder, and a shoulder. I want to see that complex head and shoulder. I never wanted to see it break above that. We looked at the weekly. The weekly's overbought and pointing to the downside. That's exactly what you want to see. So things are starting for a move now for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's oversold on the weekly, pointing up. The DXY is overbought on the weekly, pointing down. This is what we live for. This is the moments, we want to see this. We want to see the DXY finally make its bigger plummet. This is all the geopolitical landscape. BRICS selling off the dollar, like using other forms to do, oil deals and basically changing the landscape of, basically of international commerce, right? And by nations realizing they don't need to use the dollar, they can do it inside of themselves. They could even use Bitcoin. So cryptocurrency changing the landscape of a lot of what we're seeing in the world. The 3-day chart's coming lower. I'd like to see this continue. I would love to see the DXY break this channel, this lower trend, right, on this bigger channel, and fall to the downside. So it may not be perfect. We may go up and down a little bit first, but the weekly suggests that over time, we are going to go further to the downside in the DXY. Last but not least, I want to look at Sol BTC. Sol beating up on Bitcoin, getting a move. And now, once Bitcoin revs back up, Sol revs back up, and Sol makes a move against Bitcoin. I see a move right now, Sol Bitcoin above, to make a little move. And then on the bigger time frame, like the daily, I see this bigger channel. Like we go up, we go down, and then boom, 111% gains can be right now from buying Sol now and then selling it when it gets to 0.005 Satoshis. So I see Sol making a one-up on Bitcoin on the Sol BTC chart. Everybody, that is your weekly analysis for Bitcoin, the total market cap, total 3, Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, the DXY, S&P futures, Nasdaq, and Sol BTC. I hope you had a good time learning and watching this. Come back every single Friday for this top-down weekly analysis, and I'm going to give it to you exactly how I see it, and then you can kind of see what I said each week and track me and find out if we made the call or not. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being here. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life.